Paul, you've got some. What are those in the background there? Those are
CDs.
CDs. Yeah.
Yes. Some of us like the quality of music, Harry. You know, I don't like to phone in sound. I like to listen to sound.
No, I know. That's why I have vinyl.
Oh, vinyl? Like...
Ah, yes, indeed.
There's one. There's one.
Indeed. No, I have like 10,000 LPs. I never got rid of an LP, and they're in our place in Santa Monica, and they still sound great. You know, have to clean them off sometime, but they sound great.
What's your prized possession in that collection?
Oh my God, I would have to. I got so many things that I've got a lot of Brazilian music that starting from the bossa nova days and going straight through MPB and into the recent past. Got a lot of reggae. Got a lot of reggae before it went bad. Just a lot of stuff.
I've got the original AC/DC album out there that was only ever released in Australia, because by the time they started to release in America, they sort of did a compilation of.
I have all the original Beatles English pressings, on LP, stuff like that. So the next generation of kids will be interested in your CDs.
I certainly hope so. So. My grandchildren come around and they love to play old music.
Yeah. Well, it just keeps turning around, everybody rediscovers what seems to have disappeared, so.
Well, yeah. Well, my theory with old music for kids is that the first time you hear any music, it's new music to your ears.
Yes. There was a slogan NBC had, the television network here, when they started putting on reruns in the middle of the season, because they were having money troubles or something, and they couldn't afford to produce enough new episodes of hit shows. And they would actually say this on the air in the trailers for the shows. If you haven't seen it, it's new to you.
That's true.
They didn't finish the thought, though. If you have, you don't need to watch it again.
Well, let's talk about some new music that you have, The Many Moods of Donald Trump. And wow. I watch a lot of CNN. I get a lot of my news from people like Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, and basically we are getting the news from Harry Shearer in The Many Moods of Donald Trump. I mean, you have actually, in the lyrics of this album, captured the mood of basically 2020.
Kinda, yeah, and for a lot of the previous years as well. There's moments, the first song on the record is I Can't Believe I'm Me is really a song about him riding down the escalator to announce his candidacy at the beginning of all this. And I've been, because I do a radio show every week here in the States on public radio, I make fun of the news, and he is a guy, apparently, who demands that we pay attention to him every single freaking day. And so I've complied and written either a comedy sketch or a song about him almost every week since then. A lot of comedy sketches where I play him and his aides in a reality show called The Presidentess.
Yeah. The going down the escalator thing that you talked about was foretold in The Simpsons. Did they know something that we didn't know?
No, I think when you're writing topical comedy or satirical comedy, you just sort of let your mind roll free and things happen. On this new video from the record called Executive Time, which depicts what Trump is doing during these huge gobs of his daily schedule that are only described as executive time, meaning there are no meetings with anybody or no official business going on. one of the things I had him doing, which is in the video, is sitting at a desk practicing his signature like you did when you were 8 years old, you know? And when he was trying to prove that he had recovered from COVID, they had a shot of him in the White House signing blank sheets of paper like you did when you were 8 years old. So it was, you know, it's nobody's got a copyright or a trademark on making satirical predictions, but if you're in the business, it happens if you're lucky.
All the seriousness aside with what is happening in America, I mean, this guy must be just comedy gold for a comedy writer.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, he's the gift that keeps on giving and then taking and then giving and then taking. I mean, most presidents are pretty good at helping those of us in the comedy business with our material. But he's been, I think, should be described as overly generous in that particular way. Partly because, as I said before, he does demand attention every day, and he will do or say anything that will command the news cycle. And very often what commands the news cycle is something, he didn't say that, did he? He didn't do that, did he? You know, it gives new meaning to an old phrase from the 1950s or 60s, the theater of the absurd.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've done an album about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You could have done a box set.
I could have. Actually, I have written a lot more songs than are included in the record. Done them on the radio show, but these were the ones that I liked the best. I thought were, you know, the ones I do on the radio are all kind of demo versions. I play everything and sing everything, but these were the ones that I thought deserved to be sort of done right with great musicians and you know, a lot of great production. So these are the ones that survive the culling.
just the song titles tell the story itself. I mean, you only have to say the song title and you know what the story is. Executive Time, Very Stable Genius, Number One Son, Stormy Daniels. You know, like
COVID 180 most recently, you know, because he was every couple of weeks it's nothing, oh it's terrible, oh it's terrible, oh it's nothing, oh it's nothing, oh it's terrible. I mean, it was like he's one of those people whoever talks to him most recently is what he believes, you know. So if a health official is in the room with him and he hears the bad news, he believes that for 4 seconds until the political person comes in and says, no, and then he believes that. I think he has one fixed belief: I'm great.
Yeah, I think there's a vicious cycle that goes on with him too, because as you say, he believes whatever the last person has told him, but the last person is only telling him what he wants to hear.
That's correct. Usually, I mean, the health officials kind of differ from that a little bit, and that's why he doesn't like them so much. But yeah, there's and there are two reasons that you get fired by Trump: if you tell him something he doesn't want to hear, or if you're getting too much time on television, which takes away time from them.
Well, you never would have lasted in that administration then. You've had way too much time on television.
Yeah, no kidding. But I mean, you know, I just tweeted that greater love hath no man than letting his Supreme Court nominee kick him off TV for most of a week, you know, because of her confirmation hearings. But he's been notorious in firing people who were getting more time on television than he was. Yeah. He really keeps track of that.
That voice of his must be comedy gold as well. Every single comedian can do it down pat.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of Nixon and to a slightly lesser extent of Clinton. Everybody had a Clinton, everybody had a Nixon. It's a very distinctive voice, but it's also a very distinctive accent. It's a New York accent that never really makes its way into fictional movies or television. If you talk about a New York accent, people are normally giving you this thing, but his is a Queens accent, which is the borough east of Manhattan, where the middle class people live, and where his dad built a career erecting. Can I swear on this program?
Oh, it's the internet, Harry. You can't swear on the internet.
Okay. Yeah, okay, fine. Erecting shit boxes for middle class and lower middle class workers, and so he has that accent, and it's quite, job. He's doing a great job. Nobody else on the planet pronounces the word job like that. Doing a great job.
You've covered presidents in the past with numerous albums. There were Songs of the Bushman in 2008.
Yes, the cover of which was George W. Bush with a bone through his nose, which I was prohibited from putting on a billboard, even back then. Yes, and then I did some musical stuff with Obama as well. The one I'm proudest of was a video that I did, a music video of a song that I did with a young designer here who unfortunately passed away. But the video was focusing on the 4 most egregious words ever spoken by Barack Obama. We tortured some folks.
We tortured folks,
I think even if we go back to the Bush days and all the atrocities that he committed in the Middle East, when you even think about what was going on with Bush at the time, there was still respect for the office of the president. And criticising Bush was one thing, but criticising the office of the president was a totally different thing. That seems to have gone out the window in America now.
Well, I think it's because even the worst of our presidents, and I'll cite Richard Nixon as one of them. I mean, if you listen, as I have, to the Nixon White House tapes, in private, he's absolutely as bad as Trump is in public, as racist, as homophobic, as, all the stuff. But he still had this quaint belief that you had to put up a veneer of dignity and propriety. And that's, I think, what conned people into this respect for the office. And Trump, for whatever reason, just doesn't believe that in that veneer. And really, that lack of that veneer, that lack of pretense to probity and propriety and dignity, I think is what won him the election, because people go around saying, his followers go around saying, "Oh, he tells it like it is," meaning he doesn't engage in the kabuki of decorum.
And you've got a pretty big event coming up in the next 24 hours, the reunion of Spinal Tap for Joe Biden.
Yeah, it's being publicized as that. Each of us is in a different place. We're not appearing as the characters, we're appearing as ourselves, and we're not playing music. But aside from that, that's what it is.
How often do you talk to those guys?
I talk to Chris a lot. I've talked to Rob somewhat because his dad passed away, and I attended the memorial, the virtual memorial for that. And then the 4 of us were at Tribeca Film Festival a year ago, April, for a tribute to Spinal Tap. So we've been together more than usually recently.
We see a lot of bands reform over the years. Like Deep Purple were meant to go out and do their final tour this year, and they had to cancel. What would it look like? Would you do another Spinal Tap movie and sort of put everyone together for a final world tour?
I don't think any of that's going to happen. I did the other thing, which is the band member going solo in a Derek Smalls project. A little while ago, we did a super pretentious live show, which will be out as a concert video pretty soon. Like most aging rockers have one symphony orchestra accompanying them. Derek went the next step and had 2. So you'll see that soon.
Excellent stuff. It was such a shame that we didn't get to see you and Judith down in Australia earlier this year. Well, some people in Australia got to see you. I didn't get to see you in Melbourne.
Yes, we missed Melbourne. Dare I say it, that's the city that we love because our friends are there. I had a great. We've always had a great time. I have coming down to work with the working dog people. We're friends with Kath and Kim and with Glenn Robbins and all that gang, and they all kind of hang out in Melbourne. So that became a place that we dearly like to come and visit, and we were very, very sorry that we got cut off from the damn disease. It's the damn COVID. It's the damn COVID, man. But yeah, we did. I did a little thing at the Opera House, and Judith did some stuff all over, except for Melbourne. So we got to come back. You got to open the place up again.
Eventually, we will get there.
Give it a good cleaning first.
I was watching you on
a good deep cleaning, as they say. Sorry, a good deep cleaning.
I was watching your cameo on Frontline on YouTube yesterday.
Yeah, that was my introduction to not to Australia. Christopher and I came down in '92 as Nigel and Derek to give an award on the arias. But Frontline a few years later was my introduction to really being in Australia and getting to know people. It was the middle of winter, and it was really cold in Melbourne, and the guys went out and bought me a Dry-Zabone to warm me up a little bit. But I loved working with them on that show, and then I've come down and worked on the panel and other stuff with them ever since.
Yeah. I remember seeing you at a Paul Stanley thing once down here.
Yeah. And I think I've been to a Neil Finn show at the Corner Hotel. Was that the venue?
In Melbourne,
yeah. And also one of the guys from Squeeze did a gig at the Corner Hotel that I was there for. Yeah, when I'm in town, I like when I'm here, like when it's not COVID, I'm always out seeing music. We both are.
Yeah.
We love to see live music, and we want to help it come back if we can.
Where's here now? Is that New Orleans or in
This is New Orleans. That's why the background looks like this. This is a very old house that we fell in love with. I wouldn't myself paint anything that color. It looks like Donald Trump has been here before me, but no, it's an old New Orleans, one of the oldest New Orleans houses, actually. Yeah, and this is. I mean, it's really hard for this city. The restaurants are open, and everybody's putting chairs out on the sidewalk and doing takeaway, but the venues can't do that. And so a lot of musicians are setting up their own things. There's a trombone player in town who has a nice front yard that faces a park, and he has people come and play every week, set up and do gigs there. And there are other musicians who find neighborhoods that will allow them to set up at an intersection and do an impromptu set. So it's very hard to keep musicians from playing here, but of course it's equally hard for them to make a decent living right now. Sorry, I just have to say, I've gathered some solo gigs by New Orleans piano players and put them up on my YouTube channel if people want to get a taste of what you can't get a taste of live in person right now. It's some great piano playing going on.
Yeah, I can't imagine what the world would be like if we didn't have streaming. I mean, we might be locked down, but at least we can get out to the world and everyone can see what we're doing, which is just wonderful, like we're communicating here now.
Yeah. I think for all its faults, the internet has proved its value this year.
Harry, great to talk to you.
You too, man. Pleasure. Hope people... I recommend the video from Executive Time and from Son-in-Law, done in conjunction with a wonderful little video effects studio in Sydney, Electric Lens, and another studio called Mob. We worked COVID-style Skype calls, making the videos happen, and I think they're spooky and funny, so I recommend them.